Hey, what's going on? So today is Saturday and it's the cool day that we're gonna go do something cool. So we just had lunch and now we're going to the special thing that I'm not telling you about till we get there.
What's his name? The lady's very good.
Oh yeah?
Oh, she's going to visit on the other side.
This is a fox snake. It's actually an endangered species. Alright, who hasn't got a turn yet?
I want to get a picture. It's just me. I want to get a picture.
There you go.
By the way, you can stand next to this picture too, because I want to get in here. Water snake. And a bacon. Making him for Nona. You gonna try?
Did you see any birds? Did you see the bird show? I was going to say, there was an owl in a tree, wasn't there?
I don't think he was in his tree.
They're still working on it.
So we're at a Birds of Prey show and there's my building here. We're at the Birds of Prey show and we just saw some snakes. And we're waiting for the eagles and stuff. So here we are at Earth Day celebration thingy.
Just please remain seated, please. We don't want these guys wandering off too far on us. All right. So, 3 weeks old, great horned owls. In about 16 more weeks, so right around the 16-week mark, they will actually be full grown. So by 4 months old, they are full grown, as big as they will probably get. Now, you can see they're getting their feather tufts right up here. They're just starting to come in. But of course, they have that different colored feather on the top of their head. That's called down. So basically, they're just baby feathers. Just like humans have baby teeth and we drop our baby teeth out as we grow older, they have that with their feathers as well. So their down feathers, well, they'll stay with them probably for another about 6 months or so before the adult feathers fully come all the way in. So you can see they're pretty vulnerable at this age right here, pretty young. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm doing what's called socializing right now. I want them to get used to people, to realize that humans are not a threat to them. So we bring them out, stick them in front of everyone, take pictures, loud noises, get them used to being around humans from an incredibly early age. And that way they're very tolerant of us and they can cooperate and mostly cooperate and, we can handle them safely. There's no way you can just go out, capture a wild owl and expect it to do these types of demonstrations. They're hand raised from birth from this age. So even though they're 3 weeks old, their training is already starting right now. So this is part of the process of getting them used to humans, and so they're safely and happily out here in front of everyone. Cross your fingers. Hello! You're too quick. You're too quick. All right. All right. So they are very, very agile. You can see in that short flight, she probably flapped her wings 60 or 70 times in those short little bursts. So these guys are very agile and very quick birds. So that's why they're able to hunt other smaller birds. Muscle definition, only 2% body fat. If you were to actually take Galaxy, pluck every single feather off of her, weigh her pile of feathers, and then weigh her skeleton, her feathers would weigh more than her skeleton. So they're incredibly lightweight. And one awesome thing about these birds is they're completely silent flyers. How many people have heard ducks or geese fly overhead? They have that loud whistling sound coming off their wings. Well, they have very, very stiff feathers that forces the air over and around the feather. Owls have very, very soft feathers that are actually ridged on the very outside of them. So when they flap their wing, it actually allows the wind to pass right through them as opposed to over top and around them. He doesn't really have one. He tends to be a little bit of an oddball. So we named him Natas, because that's the word Satan spelled backwards. So this is our devil hawk. He can be a bit of a goofball sometimes. Now, I will mention very quickly that he does have a tendency to wander sometimes into the crowd. So if Natas comes for a visit, just try to keep your hands down, sit nice and still. He's not going to claw you or scratch you or anything like that. He just wants a safe place to land. So he's not going to hurt you or anything. He's just going to kind of come hang out and say hello. So if that does happen, myself or Jessica will get that bird back into the air, get him off of you, and then we're going to go ahead and pretend like the whole thing didn't happen anyway. Hey, you come here. Hey. Thank you. So you can see that great big wide tail that this bird has. So he's got that great big wide tail, and like I said, this bird can be a bit of a goofball sometimes. Hey, come here. You gonna sit up there or are you gonna come down? So, you know, it's just one of those days where nothing's quite going according to plan. Kind of makes you wonder who's training who out here sometimes. Hunt in groups of up to 10 birds sometimes, and they use this pack mentality in order to catch food that's a lot larger than themselves, and that way their whole family gets something to eat. Pretty much everyone, right? They're absolutely everywhere. Turkey vultures are a very, very common sight across all of Canada. But 35 years ago, you wouldn't find a single turkey vulture anywhere in Canada. They've only been here for the last 35 years or so. And the reason they're up here is they've been migrating. They've been following highways up from Central and South America all the way into the southern half of Canada. Now, why would a turkey vulture like a highway? Roadkill, yes. 99% of this bird's food is roadkill, or what's called carrion, meat that is already dead. So they don't actually do very much hunting on their own. They scavenge. These guys are scavengers. Come here, Frankie. Now Frank here, he's got about a 6-foot wingspan, and he only weighs about 3.5 pounds though, so gigantic wings compared to a relatively small body size. Rotting meat. Now generally, the more rotting the meat, the more stinky, the more petrified, the more they want to eat it. So they love eating raw, gross rotting meat. Now, say this bird does find a dead deer. Say it got hit by a car, sitting on the side of the highway, bloating in the hot sun for 6 weeks. Frank eats it, it'll sit in his stomach for a couple of days. When this bird is threatened or scared by other scavengers, such as wolves, coyotes, or foxes, he has to have a pretty unique way to defend himself from predators. So what he does, if that bird's nervous or scared, he will look his enemies straight in the eye, and with pinpoint accuracy up to 5 feet away, he projectile vomits. Now, I just told you, he just ate a deer that was bloating in the sun for 6 weeks, sitting in his stomach for a couple of days, and then he throws all that stuff up on you. She vomits all over them, covers them in puke and vomit to make sure they smell nice and terrible, and that way, wolves and coyotes coming up to the nest, they're going to smell that stuff and leave the babies alone. So it's a very unique survival strategy, and it works very, very well for them. So I always like to tell you guys, if anyone's at Walmart or something in the future and you got to leave your kid unattended for a little while, just puke on them. Just throw up all over them. No one's going to want to have died from poisons or diseases that are in our environment. And other scavengers, such as wolves, coyotes, foxes, will eat that poisoned meat, in turn get sick and die. Turkey vultures, they don't. They're the exception to that rule. They have incredibly powerful stomach acids that can filter, break down, and eliminate almost every disease out there. In fact, researchers tested that as far as it can go. They infected a dead rat with anthrax, fed it to a turkey vulture, and it completely eliminated and was fine. So, they are the environmental cleaner uppers of our birds of prey. They will take out diseases, take out poisons, filter them throughout the environment, and eliminate them completely. So they are very important to have around to make sure all of our other wildlife that scavenge stay nice and healthy and protected. So very, very cool bird to have around. Not the greatest looking bird, not the greatest smelling bird, but very, very important nonetheless. So we'll get Frank to do one more big flight so you can see his great big giant 6-foot wings while he is stretching them out there. There he goes. Now, some people often confuse these guys with bald eagles because they do have about an equivalent wingspan. Great way to tell them apart. Look how he's holding his wings right now. You can clearly see a V shape in the back of them. Bald eagles will keep their wings nice and straight. There is no arc in them at all, so vultures crook them up. So V for vulture, good way to tell them apart from a bald eagle while they're in flight. Of course, a bald eagle. All right. So Rocco the bald eagle, 7 years old. Now, it takes about between 5 and 7 years for that white head to actually fill all the way in. So prior to age 7, all bald eagles are actually chocolate brown and black. They do not have any white on them at all until about age 5. So Rocco is now, only as of this year, sexually mature. So he can have babies at the end of the year, and it takes that long for them to get this white head and white tail. So that's a good indication of how old the bird is. So Rocco here, 7 years old. He's still relatively young for a bird of prey. No. The biggest thing Rocco could lift up, being 7 pounds, would be about a 2-pound fish. So generally about a third of his body weight. So even a 14-pound eagle, which is an enormous bald eagle, you know, a 4-pound salmon at most, 5 pounds maybe, would be the biggest thing they could rip out of the water and fly away with. Vulture has a sense of smell. It's the only bird of prey that can do that. Pretty much the only bird in North America that can do that. These guys are intelligent enough to realize...
All right. That was the Birds of Prey show, and they had the snakes here. I didn't know they were going to do that. Hopefully I got the footage I thought I was getting, because at one point I noticed I was getting good footage, but I wasn't recording. But I got some pretty good stuff. Hey, supper time. Getting some grub on. Have kebabs, chicken kebabs, and Sarah made me a nice salad. Sarah's got kebabs and a salad. Is that hair on your plate?
No, it's the stuff from there. My salad's boring.
It's because you can't have good veggies.
Yeah.
Chicken kebabs. Alright, gonna eat. Num nums. Nom nom. Alright, we're just sitting here at the bar, having a couple drinks, and then that's it. And so check you later. Beep boop boop.